What's going on, you guys? Welcome back to EP09. Alright, we're going to start this one off with an update from Iain Valliere. Iain is currently around 5 weeks out of the Toronto Pro, and this is one of the rare physique updates we've actually seen from Iain this entire prep so far. He's been active on social media, he's been uploading regular content to his YouTube channel. You guys should go check out his training updates actually, but he's always covered up in these videos too. Now, for what he has shown us since the Olympia, Iain posted a similar picture at 6 weeks post-2022 Olympia, and I do think he looks better in his most recent update. He looks a lot bigger and fuller, I think, more vascular in this most recent update, but conditioning-wise, I think he's about the same as he was at 6 weeks post-Olympia. Granted, the lighting is different, but overall, do I think this is a concern for Iain Valliere going into the Toronto Pro? You know, I really don't think so. This might be his first prep with Matt Jansen in a while, but they did work together before Iain worked with Patrick Torr. And maybe Iain feels he doesn't have to come in at 100% to win the Toronto Pro. We've seen that strategy from Iain before. But my hope is that he's not taking the competition too lightly. Hassan Mustafa still might show up there, and he could give Iain some real trouble. Ross Flanigan is going to be doing the New York just before Toronto, so he'll be in excellent condition. But look, you gotta have faith in Iain here. I do think he's the frontrunner to win the Toronto Pro, and I do think between his experience and Matt Jansen's experience that this is a winning combination. And the best is still yet to come from Iain Valliere in the 2023 season. So speaking of Ross Flanigan, like I said, Ross is only 2 weeks out from the New York Pro, and Ross is another guy I think is going to be making a big statement come show day. The X-frame on Ross just keeps getting more and more impressive, and the striations and the traps in the back double is not something you see every day, let me tell you. That hamstring drop in the side poses is really impressive too. The guy's got a great set of wheels. And you know, it's interesting that he gets to this level of conditioning without really suffering through a typical bland prep food all day. One of the things that Ross really prides himself on is not eating typical diet food that you'd see from most competitors in prep. Of course, he owns Flavor Gang, but aside from that, Ross finds what works for him, he works with his coach, Dom Cardone, he stays consistent, and he gets results. And this is an impressive physique for a guy that essentially eats pancakes twice a day. Prep-friendly pancakes, of course. But yeah, I think Ross is a serious contender for a top 5 spot at the New York Pro. Top 2, top 3 in Toronto for sure, I think. And he does have ambitions to be on that Olympia stage someday. And I think with more overall size in the future, Ross can definitely make it to the Olympia. And hell, if Iain shows up off in Toronto, Ross just might edge him out with superior conditioning if he shows up, absolutely lights out. So we'll see how the pancakes treat Ross in the next couple of weeks leading up to the New York Pro. Alright, next up, we have a check-in from Nick Walker. Now, Nick posted a few check-in pictures saying he's currently weighing in at 283 pounds morning weight, so Nick's progress is definitely trending upward. I think he's definitely grown overall. Nick was 300 pounds during his last off-season, and he was nowhere near this lean. And of course, Nick needs to improve his quad sweep, but Nick's chest was another area he wanted to bring up to really balance out his physique, and I think he's well on his way. The chest does look improved in these updates. Somehow, his arms look bigger, which I don't even understand how his arms could continue to grow. They're just massive, crazy. Now, myself and Krishan over at Goat Fitness were chatting yesterday about who's going to be the most impressive bodybuilder at the upcoming guest posing for the Pittsburgh Pro. And we both agreed that Nick Walker is going to have the best conditioning of anyone in Pittsburgh. And we both agreed that if Nick brings up that quad sweep, that Nick can definitely win the Olympia someday. But that is a big if, and part of that is because Nick's upper body seems to be continuing to grow as well. And the question is, will this keep Nick out of balance from top to bottom? Now mind you, he still has a ton of time to balance out the legs, and I do think he can do it, absolutely I do. I think Nick wants that victory this year more than anyone else that'll be at the Olympia. So we'll see how Nick looks in Pittsburgh in just one more week. Alright, last up, Nick Trigili has offered a bit of an update on his current status with his YouTube channel. Now, it's been 2 weeks since Bodybuilding and BS was completely removed from YouTube due to a community guideline strike violation by Nick back in 2020. And I messaged Nick on Instagram and asked him if he thought his run on YouTube is really over, and he actually told me no. And then I saw these posts on his Instagram story pop up shortly after that. So basically, in these posts, Nick is saying he remains optimistic that he will get his YouTube channel back. Apparently it's still in the works, but he is preparing for the potential eventuality that he won't ever get his channel back. In these posts here, Nick basically says that Rumble prefers that their contributors do live streams as opposed to recorded videos. I guess it triggers the algorithm better on Rumble, and he does want to keep pursuing that avenue, but Nick is also looking at pushing his Patreon for the fans to sign up there, but at a discounted rate, just to get his typical YouTube content for like, $1 to $3 a month. And look, hats off to the guy, Nick isn't slowing down. He's still pumping out regular content, and he's still finding ways to push himself on the current platforms that he can access. But I think that there's really just nothing out there like YouTube for fans to access regular content, and that's just facts. The fans come to YouTube specifically because it's easy to get all of their favorite content in one place, and it's free to watch. And in today's world, free quality content will attract the majority of content consumers, which is part of why YouTube is so lucrative for so many content creators. And you guys said it in my last video. I would say that 99% of the comments were that Nick won't ever get his channel back, he's done on YouTube, and once you're kicked off the platform, it's game over for life. Now look, Nick is a relentless human being. I don't think he's going to quit, but I do hope he found a lawyer at this point to really help him with this. I really think that would be his best shot at getting his channel back. But yeah, as always, you guys let me know down in the comments what you guys think. Would you pay for Nick's content on Patreon, or will you lose track of Nick's content if it doesn't return to YouTube? Anyway, that's it for me in this video, you guys. Thank you for tuning in to EP09. Be sure to like and subscribe.